Thanks, Karl, for joining us.
Fuck
Karl,
yeah, man. I'm excited to be on here with you guys.
From Who Are These Podcasts? I wanted you to come on a little bit to tell us about the Dabbleverse.
Okay.
I mean, I know that's like someone saying to us, "Hey, tell us about this guy, Corey Feldman." Like,
yeah, you'd be like,
there's a lot going on. There's a lot of lore. There's all kinds of good shit. So, what do you think? What's the gist? What's the basic gist of it?
All right. So, Stuttering John Melendez was on the Howard Stern show starting in 1989, I think. He was an intern. And John Melendez was just like a stunt boy. He would go and ask celebrities ridiculous questions that Fred and Jackie would write for him. And he got a real big head, and he thought that he was a star. And then Jay Leno hired John to be on The Tonight Show as a revenge fuck to Howard Stern.
Oh, I have a question. I have a quick question. Yeah. So I've heard a version of this story, and you're moving very quickly. So my curiosity is it confirmed that it was like a revenge fuck you, or is that like a not a lie, but like that's what everyone's kind of landed on? They're pretty sure that's what it is, or is that known?
So Mike Walker wrote about this from the National Enquirer in his book, and it's unclear if Jay Leno had anything to do with the hiring of John Melendez or not. So it's possible that Jay Leno wasn't directly involved, but there was definitely a rivalry between Howard and Jay's Tonight Show that was going on at the time.
Gotcha.
When Jay hired John over, and Howard was paying John like $80,000 a year, and then they gave him like $400,000 a year to work for the Tonight Show. So I think what happened was someone over there was like, let's fuck over Howard, and we'll bring John over and piss Howard off.
Interesting. Okay.
Because John was not qualified. The funny thing about this is that John recorded audition tapes to be the announcer for the Tonight Show, where he literally said Pamela Anderson, and he used the N-word while trying to say Nicolas Cage. Like, he's not a good announcer. He shouldn't have that job.
Yeah, not his bag.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and I know you're like setting the stage here, but let me back up with your show. So how did you, initially, Who Are These Podcasts? Like how soon or late in the game did the Stuttering John element become a part of it?
So Who Are These Podcasts was based on Jocktober, a segment that Opie and Anthony did, where they would listen to other morning radio shows and make fun of them. And so I thought we should do that for podcasts. Who Are These Podcasts? And 2 years in, we were at episode 106 when we listened to Opie's podcast. He got fired from Sirius. He did the Opie Radio podcast. We made fun of that. A lot of people picked up on it. Anthony Cumia picked up on it. I went on his show. Became a kind of a big thing in the Opie and Anthony world. At almost the exact same time, I discovered that Stuttering John was doing a podcast, made fun of his podcast, and that got picked up by the Howard Stern world. And so Opie and Howard Stern became recurring characters on WATP, similar to like Corey Feldman. I know you guys didn't start off being a Corey Feldman show. You're just like, holy shit, this guy's amazing. I can't stop talking about
it. Right.
But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to divert you. So so there was this beef, and then Jay Leno kind of had this fuck you thing, which I do remember at the time. I remember all of a sudden, even though I wasn't really a Stern guy, I was definitely more of an O&A guy for the whole time. But I remember like you would hear about John Melendez being on Jay Leno, and it seemed like such a weird pickup to happen.
Well, it's interesting too, because I've only ever heard that story from the other side. When we were in New York, we were watching the Vice doc about like Howard Stern versus Opie and Anthony. And they bring up that moment, but they bring it up from the standpoint of like that dude, that Stuttering John dude being like, hey, we all deserve to get paid more. I'm going to go there. Look how much money they're offering me. And that's all I knew. So to hear you be like, well, there's a little bit more to it than that. Like, that's why I was surprised and had the question I had. Because like, I'd only ever heard it from the other side.
Well, that's more evidence that Jay Leno was fucking with Howard Stern, because he had Opie and Anthony on as guests. And that was the thing. Like, Opie and Anthony weren't like they weren't nationally syndicated. You wouldn't think like two shock jocks would be on the Tonight Show, but they had him on, I think, because he was like, fuck you, Howard. I know these are your rivals. So they had him on the show. Anyway, So Stuttering John had this career in show business that spanned 25 years. Very impressive. Howard Stern show, The Tonight Show, very impressive. And he has no talent. It's amazing how bad he is. So he starts a podcast, and I picked up on the fact that he's very braggadocious. He's a lot of similarities to Corey Feldman. Talks about his resume all the time, exaggerates about what he's accomplished, very braggadocious. Everything is like living in the past. Like, yeah. You were in Goonies. No, I know. I remember.
Yeah.
It's
So
great.
it's like if Jay from Jay and Silent Bob was full of himself. Because you know how he always kind of knows who he is and how he got there. And he's like, oh, no. I'm friends with Kevin Smith. That's why. It'd be like if Jay was like, I've been in 1 million Hollywood movies. I'm a big deal. Do you know how much money I made? Like, if you'd be like, oh, that's crazy. So that's who Stuttering John is, essentially.
Yeah, Stuttering Bob.
Now, so Stuttering John goes from being the known guy on Stern, then being on Jay Leno. Like, obviously, you don't have to get into all the details, but what is the path to being drunk on a podcast, to being drunk on his YouTube channel?
Right. So he gets a divorce. He does different shows and tries different things. He has a couple different gigs that go on. He was on Podcast One. He's on Stephanie Miller's show. Everything fails. Eventually, he just starts his own podcast. And while doing his own podcast back in 2018, I picked up on it. And I went, holy shit, this guy is just playing the Glory Days soundtrack. All he's talking about is what he used to do. And it's fascinating because he goes back to first grade in a play he was in. He talks about the Battle of the
As Feldman
literally talks
guys,
about the
we're
Battle
used
of the
to that.
Bands.
Yeah.
He talks about the Battle of the Bands from high school and how cool his band was in high school. Like, it's like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? So we made fun of him, and I didn't think it was a big deal at the time. But John did not like that. He lashed out at me. He goes, I'm going to sue this guy. I'm going to send him a cease and desist. Very similar to, Corey feels the Wolf Pack is out to get him.
Yep.
John felt that there was an element out to get him. And so he really responded poorly, which made me think, oh, this is something we should talk about way more often. So he kind of created this for himself.
No, I love that. Well, and also, I mean, because thank you for having me on your show a little bit back to talk about some Feldman stuff. But I'd mentioned to you, because you were talking about Opie, because like I said, I was a big O&A guy for the longest time, from like late 2001 to essentially, when the show stopped, and then there was the whole Opie radio and then Compound Media and all that stuff. But it's such a sad state of affairs with Greg Opie Hughes, because I know a lot of people like hate him, which I get, especially now because it's so pathetic and sad, like that he throws on his stream and he has 20 people in there, and he used to be, at the top of the radio, well, close to the top of the radio biz.
Well, and who is an Opie guy? Is anyone an Opie guy? Like,
No.
he's there, like it worked for the show. but,
Exactly.
like, it's not, no desire to. I feel like I'm more of a Sam guy than an Opie guy.
Nah, well, I hate Sam too. But I mean, I give Opie more grace than most people do, but all he does is prove all the haters right, because it's just constant embarrassment. So did you you said you kind of started your show because of Jocktober. Were you like in the O&A Reddit? Were you always kind of like Opie sucks type dude?
No, it's funny. I loved Opie and Anthony, and there were times when Opie wouldn't be there, and it would just be Anthony and Jim Norton. Mm-hmm. And I remember texting with the woman who became my wife. I'd be like, hey, because we bonded over Opie and Anthony. I'd be like, hey, good news, no Opie today. Like, we knew the show was better when he wasn't there.
Yeah.
I didn't hate Opie. I wasn't in the Reddit. I would lurk a little bit and read stuff, but I was never posting. I didn't really care about it. When Opie came out with this podcast, I review podcasts for a living. So I'm like, all right, I'll just check out this podcast. I couldn't believe how bad it was. And it was very easy to goof on and make fun of. So no, I was never an Opie hater. I just didn't really care about him that much. I thought Anthony was hilarious and Jim Norton was hilarious, Patrice. And it just turns out that, wow, as soon as he doesn't have the talent around him, everyone can see how bad he is at broadcasting.
And I guess I do get it, because it's very similar in what we're talking about with Corey Feldman or even Stuttering John, because I almost want to be like, why not just go away? Like, you've made a bunch of bunch of money.
Yeah.
You know, you live in Manhattan in a fucking, at least last I heard, you know, he lives in like a nice building or whatever, has a beach house and all this shit. But I guess it's like your ego, you can't just go away. It's like you keep going on, like he goes on his stream with just like random fans that are weird, like retarded guys. And it's so sad and embarrassing. It makes me question ever liking the show in general.
I know what you mean. Opie just told a story. He was up in Boston on a little weekend retreat this past weekend. And he just told a story on his show where a guy came up to him and said, "How do I know you?" And Opie goes, "I was so thirsty. I had to say, have you heard of the Opie and Anthony show?" Like, I think the reason why he still does this is because he wants to be the guy. He wants that fame. He thinks he can get back there. He talks about how he's better than Joe Rogan at podcasting. And there's some delusional element. Like all these guys that we make fun of repeatedly have this delusion to them.
Yeah.
That they're way more talented than anyone can recognize. And one day they'll prove it to the world.
Well, there's got to be like there's an intoxicating mix of having a chip on your shoulder and having had that taste. I think I've mentioned we were talking about wrestling for some reason, and I mentioned that like I've done like lots of like little indie wrestling shows and stuff, and when I do it at my convention, it's at in front of a fairly large audience for indie wrestling, and I've gotten some pops that I don't deserve, but have been like, oh my God, the feeling you get when you do that and you come out and you're like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. And I've had like other good ones, but then I've been like, well, that's nothing compared to fucking 2 years ago. And then I'm like sitting there in my brain being like, what do I got to do to get that? And then I'm like, I'm no one. I'm no one for nothing. And I got something I didn't earn or deserve. And now I'm like, well, how do I get that again? And like you move on from it. But I can picture a world where I'm a person who doesn't move on from it, right? You're the prom king guy that like, can't. He was like, but I was. Why am I not still? And you just literally can't let go of it.
Absolutely. Well, and this is the question we get all the time. I'm sure you get this question all the time. Do you think there's any self-awareness element to Stuttering John and what he does? I mean, I've seen clips that you show. I mean, at least one at Hackamania, for example, he's got like a big cast on his arm. He's got a beer in his hand. He's all disheveled. He's like disheveled.
I fell over again.
Yeah, like he's disheveled and like it's such again. I guess again to keep comparing it to Corey, like it seems so perfect that you're like, is there an element of him that realizes like, hey, you know, the fucking dinosaur from Flintstones, it's a living, whatever, I'll do it.
They'll laugh at me more if I'm wearing this cast. So I mean, thank God for the cast.
So, not to get too deep in the analysis, but John is a narcissist.
Yeah.
And I've looked into this personality disorder that he has. And there is a thing where you know you're an imposter deep down. You know you don't belong, you don't deserve this. But everything else takes over, your ego takes over, and you convince yourself that no. I am actually a huge star and multi-talented, and no one recognizes that, and they're all the assholes. And so it's this weird dichotomy of John's wildly insecure, but everything he does is to say, I mean, he's literally in a lawsuit with me right now.
Yes.
He's suing me and Shuli Agar from the Howard Stern show because we make fun of him. So it's like he thinks he's in the right and that everyone else is in the wrong. And he is owed all this money and fame. He hates the fact that we make money making fun of him. So it's a weird thing that for rational people like us, we can't understand, which is why it's so fascinating. I can't stop talking about guys like John.
Yeah.
Like narcissists like Corey Feldman and John are fascinating because we don't know people like that in our normal lives. We shun them and don't hang out with them.
Yeah. No one wants to be around that guy. We have something similar because Corey was he wears this 22 necklace that we've slowly adopted and made our own. And then we sold 22 necklaces. And then we recently got audio of a guy who wore his giant novelty 22 necklace to a show. Corey was like, "Oh my God, where'd you get that? That necklace is awesome. Where did you get it?" And you hear his voice go, "Oh no, where is that from?" And like it goes from enjoyment of, "Oh, my necklace," to, "Oh fuck, it's not my necklace, is it?" And we don't often rub anything in his face. In fact, almost ever. Like it's a one-sided relationship. We talk about him all the time, but he wouldn't know we existed unless he kept seeking us out. We don't put anything in front of him. But I do love that he is now genuinely afraid of something that he should love instead of loving it. If he sees a necklace that's like, oh shit, it's my necklace, he's instead like, oh God, oh no. Like he's afraid now, and I kind of love that. I do kind of like that.
Oh, this necklace, I made it at home as a joke.
It's so similar to the Dabbleverse because John Melendez still does stand-up comedy shows. And so he'll go out and perform stand-up, and he's hoping people are there because they remember from the Howard Stern show with Jay Leno.
Sure.
And especially people are like Dabbleverse fans and WATP fans. He did a sold-out show at Rodney's, which is a club in New York City. And Anthony Cumia said, I'm going. And I said, I'm going. And Kevin Brennan and Bob Levy, all these guys. So it sold out the show, and everyone's there because they want to make fun of John. So now here he is at a sold-out comedy show, and everyone's there to laugh at him. And
it's
not with
literal
him. It's
nightmare. That's like a dream a person would have in real life that would shock them awake.
It's a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah.
Where it's
Is he delusional enough? I feel like Corey would be like, everyone's here for me. Is he like, everyone's here laughing with me?
So John talks about how he sold out Rodney's over and over again. It's like, no. Anthony Cumia sold out Rodney's, not you, idiot.
So he stops. He stops just before the truth, where he's like, oh yeah, like when I sold out Rodney's. And if he were to continue, he'd have to go because everyone hates me.
That's the night it changed everyone's
Which, by the
mind.
way, I wanted to bring this up. So I got to go to the Loserville tour. I got a T-shirt.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Wow, that's a real piece of shit.
Oh, dude, it's so good. It's such garbage. I wore it once. I'll never wash it again. It will fall apart. But what I love about this shirt and what I love about Corey is, he's invited onto this tour, Loserville, that's like making fun of the bands that are on it. And, he's got all the dates on the back as if he has anything to do with this. It's a Limp Bizkit tour. Yeah. He was the first act on a Limp Bizkit show.
Well, he was the first act, and like the other two guys were guys that like literally no one's there for. So even in a world where he shouldn't be opening, he's still opening for guys that he doesn't deserve to open for.
He was essentially the DJ that just plays while people are finding their seats.
Yeah.
There were so many interviews where he was talking about how make sure you get there early because he noticed that no one was there. Like the curtain was like still down. He's like in front of barely on the stage.
Yeah, it's like when you're at like the House of Blues or something, and they're like playing Fall Out Boy or Yellow Card or something because they know that people are there for bands that are just adjacent enough. Except it's a person, and he's up front, and he thinks you love him.
Yeah, I'm opening for the guys hanging from hooks.
But similar to like John Melendez. So I went there with Drew Lane and his whole show. I know you guys are friendly with
shout out Drew.
Yeah, Drew rules.
Yeah, Drew's awesome. I went to Detroit, went with those guys to Corey Feldman's show. And there's so many of us. I mean, this is an amphitheater that's maybe, 10% full while Corey's performing. Yeah. But everyone's so enthusiastic because we're all just clowning this guy. So everyone's like way into like, let's go. It's such a millennium. Yeah. And so Corey has to know, right? That we're all just like making fun of him, but he acts like he's part of this amazing tour.
What I think he does is he puts on, similar to you were saying Stuttering John and the whole like I sold out Rodney's. Mm-hmm. What he does is he puts on the blinders to cover just enough for it to make sense. He can say, yeah, sure, some haters are here and I'll take their money. And then like the blinders go and he goes, but everybody else. Yeah. And he can fool himself because they don't like all walk up to him and go, I'm here for you or I'm not here for you. He doesn't have to know. So he can know, but then fool himself into thinking that number is not the same.
I think a part of him knows, but then that's why he released the song like The Joke.
Yeah.
Even though we know the joke, it's not true. Like if you actually listen to the lyrics, it is kind of like a diss song trying to be like, yeah, you're laughing at me, but hey, I'm laughing to the bank. Like
so sad.
He's almost saying like, yeah, please laugh at me. And then we do that. We try to fulfill his wish, and he gets so upset about it.
Well, but then even the lyrics of the joke are like really, really depressing.
Yeah, and they're also very sad.
So you can tell that he doesn't know how to even do that because he's just so sad.
So, but
I love that song.
Well, we've had this discussion a bunch of times on the show, though, because I think Mike's right, but Mike has said like, oh, if we ever go to the show, it'd be fun for like 5 minutes, and then you're like, oh, fuck. So, like, how was the show when you were actually there, like, sitting through it?
Okay. He only played 6 songs, maybe 7, maybe it was 7.
Ooh.
It was such a short set. I wanted more. I can watch Corey with his dance moves. That band is garbage. One of the things I love about what you guys do, you break down the rehearsal footage. So I've been playing in bands forever, so I'm very familiar with like getting together with band practice and stuff. Corey, not only is he not a musician, no one in his orbit knows anything about music. It's fucking awesome to watch.
Well, and it's almost like he loves that aspect of it, or maybe some of them do kind of, but he beats it out of them where he's like, no, we're doing this, we're doing that, or whatever. Because it seems like his guitar player, Greg, knows his stuff, but also he either listens too much to Corey or he's just a dumbass.
Yeah.
Like, so like, and maybe they're like one and the same, 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other.
I misspoke. I'm sorry. If you're a man in this band, you probably know how to play your instrument. If you're a woman, you definitely do not.
Well, his keyboard play, that was when he had, Adrian, so you got to see Adrian Sky, right? Well,
Yeah, he's talking. If he's talking Loserville, that's a very different group than the Angels.
Because there was
True.
Adrian Sky, and then he had that other lady that was like a keyboard player or something like
And then
that.
Oscar was in and out.
Well, actually, and kind of relating to that, to like going to the show, when you went to the Stuttering John show, was there like, would he even have enough sway to be like, get these guys out of here? Or does he try to confront you guys, or does he just go up and do his stand-up?
Yeah, did you have fun? Did you heckle him? Like what was it? Because when you described the Corey show, you almost like have ironic fun. Did anyone have ironic fun at his show, or was it like no, let's heckle this guy?
But also because before you answer, because we're like, if we go to one of his shows, like when he does a smaller show, there's a high chance that we'll just get kicked out.
Yes. If
we get recognized. So I wasn't sure if Stuttering John is just kind of like, well, they're paying, or if he doesn't even have enough sway, even though it's his show, to get you guys kicked out or whatever.
Well, okay. Great questions. I want to answer that. But I don't know if you guys saw the video. I'm sure you did, with Big J Okerson and Jim Florentine and a bunch of guys went to one of these shows on the Loserville
Oh, yeah,
tour.
Loserville, yeah.
Yeah, and like I forget who it was, but he went running over and high-fived him when he was on stage. Like, those are the guys who would get kicked out of a show.
True.
If he sees it, they're there. So the Stuttering John show was all people who make fun of John in the audience. 100%. So John couldn't be like, get this guy out here, get this guy out
That's
here.
what I was going to say. Was he going to say, get the crowd out of here?
Right.
Hey,
What are you gonna
Rockies. It's me, Stuttering John.
So John comes up on stage, and it was amazing because Anthony gets up on stage and introduces him, and he goes, "Hey, guys, we're all here to enjoy John's comedy. Let's be polite. Let's watch the show." And we're all like, "All right, let's go." And John comes on the stage, and I happen to be next to John, so I'm walking him out there, like patting on the back, like, "You got this, buddy. Let's go."
And he knows you hate him. He's like, you're not a mystery to him.
Is he like the retarded guy on the sideline that gets to start shooting threes? Like, he's like, this is my moment.
No, he's actively in a lawsuit against me. He sued me for $600,000. He knows exactly who I am.
Yeah, but
I'm like, come on, John, you got this, buddy. Let's go.
In that moment, you guys were infinite, though. You guys were just both the two guys loving comedy. I didn't know
what I mean.
you just dropped the detail. I didn't realize Anthony was introducing him. I thought he went there to make fun of him.
No, someone let Anthony on stage and just got up there and just introduced John. It was so funny.
Introducing Corey's set. Anyway,
So John gets up on stage, and instead of doing his stand-up routine, which we all wanted to see, because John's done the same stand-up routine for 20 years. I've played it on my show many times. Shuli Agar's played it on his show many times. We all know his jokes. They're the same things over and over again. So instead of doing that, he decides to read this police report from when Anthony Cumia had a domestic violence issue with the next girlfriend.
Yeah, the Danny Brand situation.
He's thinking he can get ahead of it. Okay.
So John decides he's going to troll Anthony by reading this police report. Now, this immediately goes south. Everyone just starts booing, and everyone's upset with him because it's like, well, this isn't funny. We're all fans of Anthony. Why would you do this? And my big problem was, okay, you can divert from your stand-up show if you want to get up there and troll the audience. But you have me in the audience, Anthony Zenhauser from Shuli's shows in the audience, Lucy Typebox, Kevin Brennan, Anthony Cumia, all these people that he talks about nonstop on his podcast. just do your podcast then. Like, I'm sitting right there. You can make fun of me. He calls me Lady K. There's Lady K. He can just start making fun of me, whatever. Ooh. And instead, he just reads from this piece of paper, never does anything other than that. Eventually, a guy in the Dabbleverse that people know runs up on stage, rips up his script, and John, after 8 minutes on stage, goes, "I'm out of here," and walks out of the room to people chanting "Deadbeat Dad."
Oh, wow.
And declares that a victory.
Okay, it's like a G.G. Allen concert.
Does it just turn into an open mic at that point where people are hopping up and doing their tight 2 minutes?
Dude, that was the worst part because he's supposed to do 30 minutes, so no one got their checks yet. So the comedy club is like, no one's allowed to leave the room. Your server will be by with your bill. And so they got ripped out because people were just fucking leaving without paying. So the comedy club is not happy with that.
Well, a few things. Well, first I would say, yeah, if we went to Loserville, we definitely want to get kicked out. I was more thinking like if we went to like a small bar show or something.
I thought like his birthday. If we went to his birthday, I think we might.
But the other thing, so then with it, I will say, even though it didn't work, at least he kind of tried to do something. He thought he was doing something, but yeah, he could have at that point once the reading of the police report failed, and he should have just started doing some crowd work at that point. And when you said that someone from the Dabbleverse ran on stage, I was ready for it to be like, so someone from the Dabbleverse runs on stage, lights him on fire. We're all laughing.
They pull out a machete.
Yeah. Big Hat Larry ran up there and he doused him in kerosene.
Because it's funny because at a certain point when there's that big of a mob somewhere, you hear about it a lot of just the psychology of it. Mm-hmm. If one person snaps, everyone's already on the same page. We're like, fuck it.
This isn't even weird.
We're going to tip the car over. We're going to tear this guy to pieces.
It's the end of weapons all of a sudden. And like a man is being torn into pieces and everyone's cheering.
Now, so on this case then, I mean, I assume there's probably not a lot you could talk about, but how long has this been going on? Is there an end in sight, this whole legal matter?
Yeah. We got served in August of last year, and it finally, so we got it moved from, he wanted to sue us in Manhattan. We got it moved to where I live in Rochester, New York. And the judge finally had a pretrial meeting with my attorney and John's attorney and said, okay, May 14th, everything gets officially filed. There are 74 documents filed in this lawsuit, over 1,000 pages. Like ChatGPT couldn't make sense of this fucking thing. There's so much nonsense, so many pages involved. But the judge said, May 14th, everything's officially filed. So that's happened. And in 60 days, I'll make my ruling. So there will be no trial. There will be no arguments. It's just going to be whatever was filed in this lawsuit. He's going to come back and say,
is there grounds for anything to happen?
And what is his case, by the way? It's defamation or what is it?
It's right of publicity. So the right of publicity law is, he's actually sued SiriusXM for the same thing and failed miserably at that. But right of publicity is, the famous one is there was a strip club that had a billboard where they had Yasmin Bleeth or Jenna Jameson or someone on the billboard, implying that like, oh, if I go to the strip club, this famous hot girl who gets naked is going to be there. And she has nothing to do with that. She's like, well, you're using my image to promote your product. That's my right of publicity. So successfully sued them for that. John thinks that because Shuli and I did a couple of live shows called DabbleCons, and we did a pay-per-view show called Dabble House, where we traveled down to Florida near where John lives and did a whole live stream. He's like,
that's funny.
Well, they're using my image and likeness to promote their show. So, well, nobody goes to John's shows. Nobody wants to see John. They want to see Shuli and me make fun of him.
Yeah.
So it's the right publicity has nothing to do with any of this.
That's interesting. That's like, where's the line? Because I know that I ran into this. I worked on the NBA 2K games for a small period of time, and there was a big issue we ran into where tattoo artists started being like, hey, my art is on LeBron James, and LeBron James is now a high enough resolution figure in your game or on the cover of your game, and you could see it very clearly. Like that and I'm not even saying they're wrong, but it is this weird gray area that no one had ever considered. And they're like, you can't just you have to actually remove that from his arm, actually. And then it turned into well, fuck you, no, we don't. Then it kind of started bubbling up, and then someone had to decide, okay, where's the line when is it LeBron James's digital likeness and you tattooed him and so you forfeit that? Or should tattoo artists that are tattooing famous people now start having some sort of rider with hey, since I'm tattooing you, I'm essentially putting my art on you, and so if my art shows up somewhere, you have to include, and it became this big fucking thing where you never thought about it, but it's not crazy. It's just, where's the line? Where is the line on whether or not your involvement, no matter how extraneous, where does it stop mattering? And it's more about LeBron than the thing on his arm that you recognize that this guy happened to draw.
That's very interesting, because I can see where that can be argued on both sides. Right of publicity is a little bit different, because in the statute, and I'm probably saying too much right now, but whatever, it's been filed. But in the statute, it literally says if someone is news and noteworthy, if there's a celebrity involved, and so people are interested in this, then of course you can think of it as a YouTube thumbnail. Imagine if Corey Feldman sued you guys because his image is in your thumbnail.
Yep.
No one thinks Corey's going to be on the show.
Right.
They think you're going to be talking about him. But that's kind of what John's argument was. It's oh, they're using me to sell pay-per-view tickets. No, not really. We don't want you there. You're not very entertaining.
Yeah.
We make you entertaining. So go fuck yourself.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting line.
Well, and tattoos in the NBA are more like a darker black line than a gray.
By the way, is that the biggest scam ever when they convince black people to get tattoos? That changed the game, right? This looks really good on you. They're it does?
Yeah.
You guys should get more of this.
It's more of a gray area.
Murph's alley oop, and Carl's pow, tomahawk.
Yeah. It's the LeBron photo. I'm Dwayne Wade.
They don't look great, is my point. Anyway, whatever.
No, I guess that's essentially what Jeff was saying.
Yeah, they look great. That's what we're all saying. Good stuff.
Now with the Dabbleverse though, because you mentioned, Kevin Brennan was there. I could never, and maybe this is just a Kevin Brennan thing, I can never keep track of if he's friends with you guys or if he hates you guys. Is that just how it is, or is that just Kevin Brennan trying to drum up clicks?
So Kevin Brennan's not a real person. Yeah, Kevin Brennan, if you don't know, Neil Brennan's brother. Neil Brennan co-created.
Oh, is that the guy that shit on us, but barely?
Yeah, because he was stream sniping Hackamania.
The sleepy old guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. He was stream sniping Hackamania, which is why I played lesbian porn during my show. On
Very
Hackamania.
funny.
Quick side story on that. So I did Who Are These Podcasts Saturday night. Sunday, Patrick Melton, who's running Hackamania, I'm bugging the shit out of him, who's got way too much going on. I'm like, hey, can I get the video so I can upload it to my channel? So he finally gets it to me, and I upload it to my channel. And then I'm in the showroom watching Tukey, and I realize, oh, wait, I porn bombed my own show to fuck with people who were stream sniping it.
Oh, no.
I might have just fucking ruined my entire channel. So I run up to my hotel room and delete it. Fuck. So that backfired. Anyway, not the point. Kevin Brennan does not like me at all. I used to go on his show. He used to have me on. He would pay me to go on. When Stuttering John left the Dabbleverse and then came back again, it was because Kevin Brennan gave him $3,000 to appear. And Kevin invited me on his show because that would be an interesting showdown with John and me. But then Kevin just does this thing where he can't be friendly with anyone for very long. He has to turn on everyone and turn it into a controversy. So it's very fake because he wants there to be these animosity, grudges.
Yeah.
None of it's real.
Just drama.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just drama for the sake of drama. It's lame.
That's kind of what I gleaned from it, because every now and then I would peek at his show and it would be Chad Zumach and Bob Levy, and then a week later he would be saying how those guys fucking suck and they're hacks and fuck them, and then one of them would be back and then the other one would be gone, and then
you summed it up perfectly. That show at its peak was Bob Levy and Chad Zumach, and he'd just read super chats and people making fun of Chad Zumach and just piling on Chad, and Bob and Kevin would just be piling on him. It was hilarious. And then eventually Bob Levy didn't get paid and left the show, and it was a huge falling out. And then Chad left the show, and it's a huge falling out. And then they're both back on the show now. So it's like, what does any of this mean?
What we saw of his stream snipe, because I was unfamiliar, I don't know about any of this stuff. I don't know about a lot of the podcast world or comedians or anything. And so what we saw of his stream snipe was just kind of, it was very, and I'm saying this like objectively, it was very lazy and he didn't have much to say. Is he a funny guy and that's his bit? Or is he an unfunny guy and he truly just like, the best he can do is be like, who's these guys? These guys ain't funny. Like, is that all he's got?
So part of the thing with copyrighted material is you have to be transformative. I'm sure you guys are familiar with this, right?
Yeah, we're very transformative over here at Jim and them.
Right. So you play a clip, you want to add to it.
Yeah.
Kevin Brennan will sit there chewing on a cracker, just go, wow.
Yeah, dude. No, that's exactly it.
Jeff was actually pointing that. He's like, the guy just sits there like his head on a stick.
And that's why I was curious if that was like a character or if he's capable, like, can he turn it on? And he just, like, his whole thing is like, I don't think it's worth it. Or is that just who he is?
It's a great question. And I will tell you, I think that Kevin Brennan is a hilarious stand-up comic. He was actually on Star Search and lost to Dave Chappelle. Kevin Brennan wrote for SNL. He's a very funny, very competent comedian. What he's doing now is the lowest effort bullshit anyone could possibly do. And for some reason, he has people who just want to throw money at him. So it's working.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, he probably figures the people are already giving me super chats, and I'm just sitting there going, because he's like, Jim and them. Because I have a montage at the beginning of one of our videos where we reacted to his reaction of us, and it's literally just me on Jim and them, Jim and them, Jim and them.
No, at one point he's just like, "Who's Mike?" And I'm just like, I'm not even like offended by any of this. It's just so it means it's like so. Like, to call it low effort is almost like hyperbolic.
Yeah.
There's nothing there that I was just like, I don't even know if I'm supposed to be offended by this.
And then we had a little mini run-in with Nick Ricchetta. Ricchetta. I knew I was saying it wrong.
Oh, the coke guy.
Yeah, the cokehead lawyer.
Well, I mean, he
he
called us at the end of an episode, and he seemed to be a big cocaine proponent. So that's what I took away from it.
And I mean, which was fine. Like he didn't like our show, which is fine because the thing is, we get it. I mean, and I'm sure you get it as well, because obviously sometimes, you know, with our respective shows, there's so much lore and stuff going on and people you're bringing up and moments you're bringing up, you're not always setting everything up. And if someone's not on board, they're not on board, which is completely fine. Right. My thing was, I guess I didn't know enough on what I knew he had like fucked some guy's wife or shared wives with a guy you guys all hate. But I just didn't understand why he wouldn't get, like, knowing there was already the Dabbleverse, why he wouldn't understand, like, oh, okay, this is just some other world. But then he kind of called in, and I guess he was just trying to be funny or something or other.
He either came around or he got, okay, and I don't mean this in a bad way, like, he felt like, oh, shit, I kind of just talked some shit. I didn't have much to say, and these guys heard it. Maybe I should just say, my bad, there wasn't much there.
But I guess what I wanted to ask is, how ingrained into is the Dabbleverse is he anyways? Is he more just like an outside figure because he got caught up with one of the shows?
Yeah, Nick Ricchetta is not much into the Dabbleverse per se. The Steel Toe Morning Show is this show run by Aaron Imholt, and that's the wife-swapping couple that Nick and his wife were canoodling with for a little while. And so that became a big story. But outside of the Dabbleverse, that was a big story because Nick Ricchetta is one of the biggest law tubers of all time. Mm-hmm. He got tons of views back in the day with the Johnny Depp trial. Mm-hmm. And who was that guy in Wisconsin who shot 3 people during the riots? I forget his name. But anyway, so Nick got a lot of notoriety because he's an attorney and he was doing this law tube thing and he got a lot of other lawyers on and it became a big thing. So when him and his wife started fucking Aaron and April, and then that all came out and they went to jail because the cops raided his house and found 28 grams of cocaine.
Is that a lot? It's like a lot.
That's a lot.
Guns.
How many balloons would that be?
28 grams of cocaine.
I'm not a drugs guy, so I don't even think grams.
But he looks like one, right? Like he looks like a drug guy.
Yeah.
Dude,
like
so
28
I'm
balloons.
friendly. I'm friendly with Nick. We've hung out multiple times. You know, both the last 2 Hackamanias, but I also hung out with him at Dick Masterson's shows that we've done live before. And I said to him privately, "How does your wife not know to flush the cocaine down the toilet? The cops are literally knocking on the door. We have a warrant. We're coming in." And no one's flushing cocaine down the toilet?
Yeah, have you never
What the
seen
fuck?
Goodfellas?
Yeah.
There's a literal
That's all
scene.
we had, Karen.
Yeah.
But, I mean, what the fuck is wrong with that? Why would they find that much cocaine?
Yeah, 28
I know,
grams.
that's-
Yeah, so that's like
way
again.
too
So
much.
that's like a lot.
Yeah, that's like buying like the $10,000.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, no,
most
I
people
honestly
that-
don't know either.
Well, most person that has cocaine is they're like partying, they get 3 grams.
Oh, holy shit!
Okay.
So that's a
So
lot.
a gram is
lot.
like $80.
Oh my god! So yeah, that's a shitload of cocaine. Wow.
Well, it's weird to stockpile a bunch of it at once unless you're distributing.
I mean, he wasn't distributing. So I think that he like had just stocked up, which is the
He came
worst
up
time to
on a
get raided.
windfall. I got a sale on 28 grams.
How embarrassing! I'm getting raided now of all
Oh
time.
my god, the one time I have 28 grams on me.
And I know there's so much lore there, but like the Steel Toe Morning Show, that dude, because again, it's like he's such a walking calamity from what I see from the outside. There's the whole thing with the wife swapping and the Ricada cum that was on his wife or something or other. And now is that guy also, does he just play into the drama because that's whatever, hey, it's views and I'm e-begging on my channel? Or is it another like narcissist thing where I'm just a car crash and I don't even realize it?
No, he does not play into the drama. He thinks he's beating us. We do a show. We did it at Hackamania called This Little Piggy that's only about Steel Toe.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's me and Patrick Melton and Tukey and Moody. And we just make fun of this guy who goes on for sometimes 8 hours a day, pretty regularly. He's on 8 hours a day. And it's kind of like, you guys familiar with Dark Side Phil, DSP?
These all sound like
another-
fake people. Every time you say someone's name,
I know.
Yeah, there's Soggy Hot Sam. There's like Tall John. I'm just like, okay, yeah. I'm trying
Dark Side
to.
Phil's classic. He's that's terrible at video games and streams all the time, and then like whines for.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
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 Yeah,
Jeff knows.
okay.
All right, cool.
Dark Side Phil's pretty well known, DSP. This guy is just like an e-beggar. He's been on the internet forever, and all he does is just do a show where he's just like, guys, give me money. Here's ways to give me money. If you give me money, I'll go buy a cheeseburger and I'll eat the cheeseburger.
Oh,
Just
he's
give
like
me money.
blue.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
we watched this guy, the Boy Blue, but what's better about, well, not better, but what we love about the Boy Blue is that he's literally just a guy that lives with his grandparents.
Yeah.
He's a
and no
juggalo.
one, and there's no one in his chat. There's like 3 people. So he's begging to no one.
Well, a great thing with like Dark Side Phil is he'll have like donate $50 and he'll put on the One Piece hat while he plays, but then he'll like complain about it, like, people aren't donating. I guess I'll put on the hat, and then they donate it, and then he's like annoyed that he has to wear the hat.
All right.
Well, it's like that works with a hot chick, like put on the hat. But when you're just some guy, you can't just adopt that exact
Yeah, just
same
put the
thing.
hat on.
So Aaron Immel, Steel Toe Morning Show, he used to have a morning radio show. Like he's a legit broadcaster, St. Cloud, Minnesota, 200th market, whatever.
Yeah.
But he used to have a morning show. So now he got fired. So now he's on the internet and he was on Twitch and he was successful on Twitch for a while, but he got kicked off of there. So now he's on YouTube and Rumble and he does this show where he pretends like he's still like the morning guy. Hey, you're waking up with Aaron Immel in the morning. But his show is just like, give me money. Why aren't you giving me money? You guys please give me money. And then we make fun of him and he's just like, you guys don't even have a real show. You guys don't understand. I'm a real broadcaster. You guys are losers. Like, do you really not understand what's going on here? You're the one begging for money all morning and evening.
But then but people like that think they have the moral high ground when they're like, but you're talking about me.
Oh, yeah.
But you're talking, and
Must
you're
be
like,
doing
The
something
joke
right.
is on you.
yeah, and you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
you poor summer child.
The joke is on you. Yeah. That's funny.
Do you have more Dabbleverse questions? So I have a non-Dabbleverse question.
There was one quick thing, and although I guess
So
I
you
was,
don't have to rush. I was just curious.
I was going to try to see if I could find the episode, but you did talk. I mean, we kind of talked about this real quick at Hackamania, because back in the early days of Who Are These Podcasts, you did cover brother of Jim, Kevin Scampoli's show. I think it
you
was.
brought this up. Yeah, this is wild.
Speaking of someone that occasionally is friendly, but then can't be friendly for too long and just has to cause some type of problem.
I know it was one of the early episodes because I remember Kevin mentioning it back in the day. But yeah, there was an early episode of Who Are These Podcasts that was about We Hit and Run. I don't think you were too brutal on it because I think it was just kind of like, oh, it's about wrestling, I guess, or something or other. But I do think it is kind of like small world. It is kind of weird. Well, especially because Kevin also is someone that would thrive on some of that drama. I think he did have a little mini battle with Patrick Melton about maybe it was like 2 years ago now.
Let me guess, over something incredibly important.
I forget specifically what it was. But
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
I asked Jim about that at Hackmania when I was talking to him because somebody told me that, hey, by the way, you reviewed Jim's brother. And that was, I think, episode 4. And this is before we were a video show. It was just an audio-only podcast. We had maybe 12 people downloading our episodes, sometimes 48. So we weren't doing anything. No one gave a shit. But it's very interesting because I talked to Jim about it. He goes, yeah, my brother was very aware of that and knew all about it. I was like, oh, I didn't know that we were hitting anyone's radar at that point. That's funny.
Yeah, well, because Kevin, I mean, I don't know, he's on again, off again friends with a lot of people, but I know Mersh was a big one, and I know Mersh is somehow involved with the Dabbleverse, maybe an enemy, maybe, or a frenemy. I don't know what your point of view on that is.
Well, I did a live show with Mersh. Revenge of the Sis is the show he's on with Royce, and we did a show down in Florida a few years ago, and I invited them to be the co-host of the show. So, and I also did a live show with Mersh through Dick Masterson through the Dick Show. So, Mersh has recently panned me quite a bit, but we've been friendly in the past.
Mike, thoughts on Mersh?
Yeah, Mersh, I'm feeling like I'm the hierarchy of how likely they are to be real. Like pretty low. I'm getting a pretty low ranking as far as like, is this person real or did Karl just like say a name to see if I'd flinch?
Giving me goosebumps.
But yeah, I did want to just bring it up. But go ahead, Mike. You said you had a non-Dabbleverse question.
If I am not incorrect, and you can, and this, if this is nothing, you can just tell me. It looks like you have Rick McCrank's Kodak Girl skateboard hanging on your wall behind you. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Do you
yes.
now? A lot of times I get excited when I see people that have like specific skateboards, and they're like, "Oh, some friend gave it to me. I don't know anything about it."
Interjection: Rick McCrank, is that a streamer in the Dabbleverse?
Yeah, is that
Yeah, Rick McCrank, my favorite Dabbleverse.
He's the guy that ran up and stabbed Stuttering John.
So one, do you have a past like enjoying skateboarding, or is that just a board that happened to wind up on a wall for you?
All right. So I used to have a bunch of skateboard decks behind me, and then I realized, hey, I should probably decorate with fan art and make this more like WATP centric to show that I do a real show. I used to have like all these Star Wars skateboard decks. I still have them upstairs in the blister packs.
Are they the element
I
ones?
was a skateboarder. For a long time, I was a skateboarder. I love the skateboarding culture. And also the reason for this board specifically is because I'm from Rochester, New York. And
Yes.
so my dad worked at Kodak his entire life. And so Kodak's like a big part of the
Oh, interesting. So it's
economy
like
here.
the two halves of your specific life. Okay. Yeah, I was just curious. I kept staring at it. I'm like, that looks like fucking Rick McCrank's girl deck, but I couldn't see enough of it because you have the like it looks like chainmail over it. So I thought I'd ask. I was curious. When I
Right.
see things
And
that
actually-
I like, I'm like, ooh, a thing.
Yeah. And it's a good question. And it's funny because the reason why it's covered up by that is because a listener from the UK came to a live show and made that WATP,
Oh.
whatever that is, armor for
Yeah,
me.
it looks like chainmail.
Yeah. And you know, it's got cockroaches on it because Stuttering John had cockroaches in his house at one point. And then on top of it, someone made me a Trucker Andy hat that looks like a Coca-Cola logo because my co-host Trucker Andy used to deliver for Coca-Cola. So we just keep adding bullshit on, and it gets jumbled up. I've told producer Chris, who does my decor here, to get rid of the skateboard tech and everything else and make it easier to look at. So we don't have like sticker boards. And
I'm
shit.
glad I saw it. I thought it was cool. So I
Thank you.
wanted, because again, so often these days when you're like, oh shit, you got this deck, and they're like, yeah, I don't know who that is. It's just it had Superman
looked
on
cool.
it, so
Yeah.
I got
Right.
this. I bought the Enjoy deck because it had Superman on it. I'm like, oh, okay, never mind. I thought we were gonna have something to talk about for a second,
Dude.
And so I'm always happy when I ask someone and they're like, no, I know what's on my wall. It's on my wall on purpose.
Yeah, I was just at a restaurant that's kind of like a fine dining restaurant the other day, and they had these skateboard decks on the wall, and I'm like, this is bullshit. They don't fucking
Yeah. Yeah. So especially these days, because you mentioned that you had the Star Wars decks. Are they the Element ones?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of that stuff happens so often these days now where people are like, oh, yeah, no, I just bought the fucking crossover they did. And so it's like, that's not a judgment. It's still a cool thing because skateboards look cool when they're hanging on a wall. But now you just never know, like, am I talking to someone who cares about which half of that skateboard do you care about? Is it that Boba Fett is on it, or is it that it's a skateboard? And so,
I do have the Boba Fett one,
Yeah,
by the
yeah.
way. It's
Okay.
fucking sweet. But yeah, I know what you mean.
well, thank you. Thank you for indulging my incredibly specific question.
I appreciate it.
One last question around the Dabbleverse. Has anyone gone to physical blows over some Dabbleverse business? And what is the potential for some real physical altercations, East Coast, West Coast type shit? Like, we're just going to keep escalating this till someone's in the hospital.
Great question, because one thing that I've noticed from the Dabbleverse, but also outside of the Dabbleverse, is that when you have these...
There are two places in the world, inside the Dabbleverse and outside the Dabbleverse.
So when I look at both places, one thing I've noticed is that these stupid YouTube beefs and internet beefs always turn into we should fight.
Yeah.
So Stuttering John has challenged me and a bunch of other people to boxing matches many times. Aaron Imholt from Steel Toe wanted to fight 5 of us at Hackamania 2. He challenged a bunch of us. He was going to set the whole thing up.
Why would you fight 5 people? I'm going to go get my ass kicked.
One at a time, but still, it's not a good idea.
Oh, yeah. Gauntlet.
So one of the things I've noticed is that these people, if they're getting made fun of a lot, they eventually go to, oh, then I'll just beat you up. And I will say right now, I'm a giant pussy. I like doing a show. I enjoy comedy and making jokes. I'm not looking to fight anyone. And I've been in the same room with a lot of these people. And every time we've done live shows and people come out, like that Rodney show specifically, like I said, Kevin Brennan was there. And you know, different people who like act like they hate my guts or whatever. Everyone gets along. It's fine. It's all theater, I think.
From the outside, it does seem like there's I wouldn't say infighting, but maybe a lot of civil wars constantly happening.
Yes.
From a very small outsider's appearance. But then I also know that it's much harder to hate someone to their face, no matter how much you shit talk them. So I would imagine if it's just a whole lot of that, where once you're there, you're like, yeah, I guess like whatever.
Okay, so let me ask you guys this, because a lot of times, like guys like John Melendez will be like, oh, you must hate my guts. I don't hate John, even though he's suing me for a lot of money. I don't hate John. I actually enjoy watching him, which is why it's fun to make fun of him. I'll watch his show and be like, oh, this is interesting. I'll probably clip this. And I wonder if you guys feel the same way about Corey Feldman. I know he thinks that there's this wolf pack that's trying to ruin his life or end his life or whatever. You guys don't hate Corey Feldman, right? You enjoy clowning him.
Yeah, I think it's a little of both. I mean, in some cases, when we get like Margot in here or something, and she's talking about some of the more heinous allegations, then you're like, fuck this guy. Yeah, but to your point, we wouldn't be talking about him every week if there wasn't some element like, you know, it's tongue in cheek, but we say we're the fairest podcast because there are elements where we're kind of rooting for him a little bit, where we're like, hey, dude, if you just figure this out, if you lean into this aspect of what's happening, you'd be a lot more successful than you realize. But your ego gets in the way.
Yeah, he'll act away in an interview and we'll be like, oh, dude, why isn't he always like this?
But yeah, so you're right. There's not like hate really at all.
We all genuinely love Down.
Yes. And they're
like the whole thing.
Well, I think that we don't have a personal enough connection to him to hate him. I feel like that's kind of involved. You would need to like I get why the Angels we're friends with do hate him because they have that personal reason. Corey's never fucking keyed my car. Corey's never come after us.
Yeah,
Corey,
drugged your drink.
I wasn't in his band. I wasn't tripping balls after he drugged my drink, right? Like that didn't happen to me. I hear some of those stories and think like, yeah, that guy fucking sucks. But then there's it's not quite at the hate level because I feel like you need some sort of personal connection. Now, if he did take us to court, that would probably wind up being more funny than anything. But then if it became like
You think that, and then it costs you tens of thousands of dollars.
What I was about to say is if it cost me a bunch of money, then I might start being like, well, now I do hate this guy because now I have that personal thread. Because we've always joked that if he served us, which we're surprised he's never tried, but we think it's because he has no money. We would all show up in Dumb and Dumber tuxedos to the courtroom, which would be hilarious, and we'd act completely normal, and everything would be normal except we'd be wearing Dumb and Dumber tuxedos, and that part would be fun. But much like I've always described his shows, I think that part would end, and then the part where like, we're using money, and this is causing us problems. That part would start like rearing its head, and it would stop being fun, and then I think I would have a reason to actually hate him. So you're a much bigger man than me saying you can be in the middle of that lawsuit that is costing you money and causing you problems, and you're like, he's just a little scamp, that guy.
Yeah, it's funny. I used to tell John, please sue me, because he would threaten it all the time. And I'd say, John, just fucking sue me already. And I thought it'd be a lark. I thought it'd be fun. Turns out getting sued sucks. So I was totally wrong about this. People call me all the time. They're like, Karl, you used to like beg for John to sue you. I'm like, yeah, I thought it'd be funny, but it's not, because I can't talk about it. So that sucks.
Yeah.
And it cost me a shit ton of money and aggravation. So actually getting sued blows, it turns out.
Now, do you, just speculating here, do you think when it's all said and done, will there be like a gag order where you won't even be able to talk about it after the fact?
Oh, I'm banking on the fact. So we've had DabbleCon 1, DabbleCon 2 live shows I do with Shuli Agar from the Shuli Network Uncle Rico show. And we've had 2 big live shows based on Centering John. As soon as this lawsuit gets settled, we are booking DabbleCon 3. I am hoping my attorney shows up because there's so much shit that happened behind the scenes. It's hilarious. I can't wait for people to find out about that. But I'm hoping we get John's attorneys to show up for this thing too.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
Because that would be hilarious to hear their perspective on it.
That does seem fun.
One of his attorneys just doesn't even talk to us anymore. Like, doesn't communicate with the court at all, and never recused himself. So it's very odd what's going on with one of his attorneys.
Yeah, if there's a long game to any of this, it's got to be that is like that light. Like when you're like suffering in the dark and you're getting whipped every morning and you're hungry and you're all skin and bones, but like you look out the window and occasionally like a bird lands on this and you're like, it's still out there. The world's still out there.
The world's still there.
Yeah.
One day this is going to end.
Yeah, this is going to be over soon.
One day I'll be dead.
So yeah, we'll see what happens. Like I said, by mid-July, the lawsuit will be settled one way or another. The judge has said he's going to make a ruling on it. As soon as that happens, 2 things are going to happen. One is we booked DabbleCon 3, and it's all about this lawsuit because it's been hysterical behind the scenes. People don't even know. The other thing is Anthony Cumia has said as soon as this lawsuit is settled, he's going to sue John for defamation because John calls Anthony a pedophile, but he doesn't just call him a pedophile. He literally tags Anthony's employer, WABC in New York City, when he calls him a pedophile. So Anthony has a legit defamation suit against John, which will be hysterical.
We did see some of that happening with all the Hackamania stuff when Corey Feldman kind of threw his thing out there because he saw the video, and then I saw how like Chad Zumach and John and them were like, oh, this is great. We have Corey on their side. Like such a dumbass thinking. Like,
not realizing that that's not like the weapon you think it is.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. You pick up a fucking plastic master sword thinking it's like going to chop a guy in half and you get eaten.
Now,
dude, Chad Zumach overplayed his hand so much on that, where he's like, all right, Corey, I'm with you. I'll be there. And you don't have to pay for my travel, but if you get my room and board, that'd be great.
I have no idea who he's talking to. Corey's like, oh, I'm not doing anything, let alone anything with you.
Well, and
that was hysterical.
I won't even retweet you doing it.
And they were thinking that they were probably going to get a lot of press because it's like, oh, well, Corey Feldman is he's a C-tier celebrity, but he's been around for decades. Mm-hmm. So you assume like you're going to get some headlines out of it because, that was what I thought initially when he had his IG rant about us,
Yeah.
over a year ago at this point. I was like, uh-oh, but like in a bad way, because I was like, he's painting us as fucking monsters.
Yeah,
Are people going to pick this up? But like, no one cares.
Yeah, now we're at fucking Heckamania.
But anyways, thank you so much for hanging out with us during the Streamathon, man.
Yeah, man.
Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Carl. Thank you for exposing me to this increasingly hard to believe cast of characters.
Dude, guys, thanks so much for having me. Congrats on the Streamathon. I know Lucy Tightbox will be on talking about
Yes.
Greg the Bunny.
Yes.
Looking forward to that. I've seen the episode.
I'm sure.
I'm looking forward to whatever that means.
all those words you just said are true.
All right, thanks, Mersh.
But no, guys, thank you so much for having me on. Who are these podcasts? Who are these.com is where you can go to find our podcast. We put out an audio show twice a week, anywhere you listen to podcasts. And then, of course, we have the YouTube channel where you can watch the show, and we stream pretty regularly on there. And the Dabbleverse started with Stuttering John, but it's grown to a lot of other characters, as you guys have heard. And it's fascinating. If you like laughing at jerks, it's a fun place to be.
Well, I was going to ask you, what would your advice be to someone that wanted to jump in, like blind, because like it's a lot of lore, but the way you just described it is if you want to have fun laughing at jerks, that might be the move. Is like, hey, you don't need to know about it. You just need to know they're jerks. So that I feel like you answered my question before I even asked it.
Yeah, I try to do a good job of setting things up. It is tough. I mean, you guys understand how this works, but
Yeah.
when we go on to recurring characters, I'll try to explain like, okay, here's what this person's doing, is why we're making fun of them, and try to give some backstory. But it can be tough when you're just listening to a show for the first time. There's a guy. Here's another crazy name. Sheet Shitterson.
All right.
It's a guy named Sheet Shitterson on YouTube.
Yeah, he's a good one. He's a good follow.
This is the hardest my fake character alarm has gone off in my head. It's fucking Blair. It's a fucking Death Star Saxon right now, dude.
Well, because there was a woman who accused John of going to her hotel room and shitting in the sheets. So anyway, there's a guy named Sheet Shitterson. And he made 2 documentaries about this whole Dabbleverse, how it started, why it exists, Stuttering John, all this stuff. So if you want to learn more, and you should, it's very fun. If you want to learn more about the Dabbleverse and Stuttering John lore, Sheet Shitterson on YouTube. Check out the documentaries.
so funny.
That'll get you caught up very quickly.